the Ralph E. Johnson Jr. YouTube channel. We are on our way to New York. That's right, the Big Apple. Lower Manhattan, here we come. We're going to do a lot of sightseeing, a little bit of shopping, but before we do anything, as soon as we get off at the train station in Lower Manhattan, we're going straight to where the World Trade Centers were to pay homage to those who lost their lives September the 11th, 2001. Definitely have to pay our respect.
Next station stop will be that of New York Penn Station. One entering all of New York City, the Big Apple will be next.
Okay, as we exit the Moynihan train station, Madison Square Garden, there it is. Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. That's what they say. We are at the site of the new World Trade Center. This is Tower 1. It was built in place of the Twin Towers. As you can see, it is a magnificent structure in Lower Manhattan. This is the front of it. Very wonderful structure. And we are about to go over to the sites where the North Building and the South Building were, or towers as I might say. The memorial's over here. It is going to open in about 15 minutes, and I'm going to show you where the North Tower and the South Tower once stood. This is the site of the North Tower. This is the memorial. This is where the tower actually stood. The North Tower. These are the names of those who perished on that tragic day, September the 11th, 2001. The North Tower. Now I am going over to the South Tower. This is where the South Tower stood. And this is the monument to memorialize those who lost their lives the tragic day of September the 11th, 2001. This is where the South Tower stood. This is the surroundings of the tower. People in these buildings would have witnessed the whole thing, as well as the people on the ground. The names are on the monument in respect, paying homage to those who lost their lives. The South Tower. We are headed toward Times Square. On our way to Times Square, one of our sightseeing locations. Times Square, right ahead. See Batman and all of them. All right. K Crusade, I don't want no trouble. Hey, buddy.
Action! Yoo-hoo! Spider-Man is yours! Nice! Yoo-hoo!
Okay. So I guess, what they say, the Army recruiting thing. So I guess all of this is Times Square down here. So where they drop the ball at? Somewhere, oh, in this area? The famous Times Square ball, I guess. Well, it's time to throw down. You know, we've been walking around all day long down in Times Square. Now we're ready to hit the Empire State Building, but I'm gonna make sure that I knock this food down. It smells good. It's BBQs.
Yeah.
When you come to New York, you definitely have to come to BBQs. And we're gonna cut the video off for a minute and throw down, and we'll join back up at the Empire State Building. Signing out. Okay, we are at the Empire State Building. Wow. Okay. Now we're going to the front. Empire State Building. Okay, as you see, it's been raining a little bit, but we are on our way down the Hudson River to go see the Statue of Liberty and some more sights in Lower Manhattan, but we'll probably go further up mid-Manhattan, I don't know. But anyway, we're going to do some serious sightseeing. And remember the movie Sully, where the man landed the plane on the water? Well, this is the Hudson River where he landed the plane. So, let's
You
buckle
guys
up.
ready to start the tour?
Yeah!
That's right. If you look to the left side of the boat, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see a monument. It looks like a beehive. That monument is called the Vessel. The Vessel sits in the center of the newest neighborhood on the island. This neighborhood is called Hudson Yards. Here is where billionaires live. This is where millionaires live. This is where I do not live. Sky to your left, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see the most famous building in the world. This building is called the Empire State Building.
Oh, there it is
That
right there.
antenna that you see on top of the Empire State Building, at one time, that antenna provided television and radio reception to all of New York in the tri-state area. This antenna was here long before cable television. The Empire State Building was built in 1929. When it was completed, 102 stories high, it was the tallest building in the world. If you look all the way to the left of the Empire State Building, the tallest building that we see here now, the top of it is shaped like a triangle, you'll see a deck sticking out. That deck is called the Edge. The Edge is America's highest outdoor glass bottom observation deck. Guess what?
What?
Guess what?
What?
Did you guys know, look to the left side of the boat, these two blue piers, Chelsea Piers, did you guys know this is where the Titanic was headed? Had the Titanic not sink in the Atlantic Ocean, they would have ended their voyage here at Chelsea Piers. If you look on the other side of Chelsea Piers, you'll see a big white building that looks like a giant block of ice. That building is called the Iceberg Building. It's a memorial to the Titanic, because as you all know, the Titanic hit a what?
Iceberg!
It's the newest park on the island. Please don't stand on the seats. It's the newest park on the island. And this park is called the Little Island. It's open to the public. It's a must visit. Greenwich Village is the most desirable place to live when living on the island of Manhattan. Greenwich Village is the home of thousands of restaurants. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This is where New Yorkers come to dine. This is where you should all be having your meals when visiting New York City. Go to Central Park, visit the Edge, the High Line, the 9/11 Memorial, and in between visiting all these attractions that we have to offer, spend your free time walking around this neighborhood known as Greenwich Village. There's a great park here in Greenwich Village called Washington Square. Will Smith, Mel Gibson, Bruce Willis, Brooke Shields, Demi Moore, Sarah Jessica Parker, and many others all live here in Greenwich Village. Jazz clubs, comedy, hip-hop, rock and roll, salsa, merengue, techno, line dancing, drag shows. It all happens here in Greenwich Village. Ladies and gentlemen, you must visit Greenwich Village when coming to New York. Another great neighborhood here. We love our Chinatown here in New York City. Another great neighborhood here on the left side of the boat is called Tribeca. Tribeca stands for Triangle Below Canal Street because the neighborhood is in the shape of a triangle and it's just below Canal Street, giving it its name, Tribeca. Well, this building is called the Chinga Building, and the entire top 2 floors is the New York City home for Beyonce and Jay-Z. Listen very carefully. In 1973, that's when you were born? Oh, you sure were. Look at that. It says it on your shirt. Well, guess what? In 1973, the city dug up the ground to build the foundation for the World Trade Center Twin Towers. They dug up thousands and thousands of tons of rock called Battery Park City. Battery Park City is the only neighborhood on the island built on a landfill. Scientists have predicted, should there ever be a major earthquake in New York City, it's goodbye Battery Park City. But guess what? In the 400-year history of our city, we have never ever had a major earthquake. So those folks in Battery Park City sleep well at night. Battery Park City is the home of Leonardo DiCaprio, supermodel Tyra Banks, and Wendy Williams. How many people know Wendy Williams? Raise your hand. How you doing? 9/11. That's a moment of silence for the 3,000 people that died on that day. Every single thing that you're looking at here on the left side of the boat was 100% covered in ashes on that day. But we're Americans, and we sent the clear message to the world that no matter what you send our way, we will stand tall and we will recover. And we sent that message to the world when we completed the Freedom Tower, which stands 1,776 feet tall. It's the crown of America and the jewel of New York. When immigrants would come to America through Ellis Island, once they became American citizens, many of the immigrants would come here to take trains to go all points west. California, Colorado, Texas, wherever they were building. Around the building, it has 6 different levels on it. Each one of those levels represent 1 million people. 6 levels, 6 million people. This is a very special place on our island. This building is a memorial to the 6 million innocents, to the 6 million innocent Jews that were murdered during the Holocaust. This is a very special place on our island. It's the Jewish Heritage Museum, also known as the Holocaust Museum. If you continue to look to your left, it's the white building with the tower on top of it. That building is Pier A. It's the oldest pier in America. It's the first pier in America. It was built in the 1600s by the Dutch. That building that you see there, that long white building on Pier A, is the second building on that pier, and this building goes all the way back to the 1800s. This pier in this building is a national landmark. It's a national historical site. It is the first pier built in America. When this particular building is built, in the year 1624, when the Dutch arrived on the island, they encountered 2 Indian tribes, the Lenape tribe and the Iroquois tribe. The Dutch referred to the Indians as savages. They called them savages, which they were not. They were just like you and I. But the Indians were determined to protect their land and they would use any means necessary. The Dutch didn't like that. The Dutch were afraid of two things. They were afraid of the Indians, and they were also afraid that the British would come because of Amsterdam. When the British arrived, they renamed the New York after the Duke of York. We are now going up the East River, and I have to remind you, please do not stand on the seats because the boat is going to rock. This is where you'll notice the boat will rock up. All presidents of the United States, when they fly to New York, they get on an airplane from Washington, D.C. The president's airplane is called Air Force One. Air Force One flies into JFK Airport, named after President Kennedy. And from Air Force One, they get into a helicopter, and that helicopter lands here on the left side of the boat. This is the East Side Heliport. Presidential landing. This is a historical district. This is the South Street Seaport. If you're over 21, say hell yeah! You see Pier 15, for those of you over 21, every single night there's a party at Pier 15. Music, dancing, and great food. This area is called the South Street Seaport, loaded with restaurants. You should have at least one meal here while visiting New York City. That ship that you see there is called the Wavertree Liverpool, and the reason why we call this the South Street Seaport, because many years ago, welcome Brooklyn, New York. The magical, the historical, the must-visit Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn has the largest population of all 5 boroughs. 2.6 million people live in Brooklyn. The building that the White House that you see there with the tower on it, that's the Brooklyn Ice Cream Factory, the oldest ice cream parlor in America. Get on that line, it's worth every single lick. We are now on the north side of the bridge, on the south side of the bridge. Everything that you're looking at on this side of the bridge is called Brooklyn Heights. This is the very first community in Brooklyn. It's the Brooklyn's historical district. The bridge was built in 1884. It was the first bridge to connect Manhattan to Brooklyn. The Brooklyn Bridge was the dream of John Roebling. He died before the bridge was completed, so his wife, his son, and his daughter-in-law completed the construction of the bridge. When the Brooklyn Bridge was completed, it was the tallest structure in the Western Hemisphere. The Brooklyn Bridge is one of the world's most iconic bridges. Guess what? What? Look at Brooklyn now. To the right of us is the Williamsburg Bridge. We have a nickname for these 3 bridges. We call them the BMW bridges. You knew that. The BMW bridges like the car. B for Brooklyn Bridge, M for Manhattan Bridge, and W for Williamsburg Bridge. Ladies and gentlemen, standing before us is the most famous, the most powerful, and the most iconic statue in the entire world. Welcome to the Statue of Liberty.
Thank you for joining us on our trip to New York City. It was inspirational, educational, and definitely memorable. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more thought-provoking videos. God bless you.